Feeling good, feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome in to another edition of Timeline T. I am your host, the Sam D, aka Sidney Smith Jr. Today could be one of the ones. Lot of NBA on the docket, as you see with the topic bar, all NBA. There's a couple little minor NFL stuff we may get to if time permits, but I talk stuff, I say stuff, y'all tell me in the chat, y'all give me the feedback off of that. What a weekend. Death of a dynasty. Death of a process. Oh, feels good. Don't you agree? Feels good. Feels good to be able to pull up and know that the process is officially over. It is so good to be able to pull up and just be like, yo, so let's break it down. Who choked the most? Pause. Like, yo, it's I couldn't fit Daryl Morey in the title because I didn't want to just jam it with just words, but we could throw Daryl Morey in there too. Like, who? Man, so he was going to run that Houston thing in the Eastern Conference, and yeah, okay. All right. Y'all know what it is. Scrub Zero in the house early was good. Embiid, Harden, and Rivers, the Three Stooges are choking. Big facts. Oh, man. The funny thing is, I got some Philly people that always tap in, and the timeline real quiet today. Last, 12 to 18 hours, timeline been real quiet. Real quiet. They just moved on, like, oh yeah, the season's over. I'm like, no. Where's the energy? Embiid. Come on. Joel Embiid. Come on. Where's all that? Where's all that energy? Oh man. Script here was death of a process. That thing had life. I mean, if you let the Philly people tell it, that was a real thing. The process, Sam Hinkie, Colangelo, all of that. Just for them they can't even get to the conference finals. Hi, Philly. Oh, man. And this is just a warm-up for the The Sandy podcast. I ain't going to give all my bullets on this stream today. I got to save some, keep some in the tuck for when I do my podcast. Oh, man, but they are not going to be able to evade the smoke. They will not be able to evade the smoke. All right. Y'all know what it is. Let's go ahead and tap right in. Y'all see it. Lost in Game 7. They lost by Hellas. Series summary, we could do that if you want. But ultimately, what we really want to tap into is how evenly matched these two teams are, right? Look at the pace. Same pace. Turnovers, not that big of a difference. Free throws per field goal attempt, not that much of a difference. But that offensive rating, though. But them points, though. But that effective field goal percentage, though. All right, let's just get right to the shits. I'm not really going to waste too much of y'all time and my time today. The Philadelphia 76ers put themselves on display. They were rebuilding something for Hellas. They gave us all these number one draft picks, all these trusting the process, tanking to get better. I'm actually still pro-tanking. Even though there's been plenty of teams that have gone about the wrong way of tanking or have tricked off the picks once they've tanked, I still think for certain teams, for certain organizations, tanking is a good thing. Tanking is a good strategy when utilized correctly. The problem in Philly is that out of all the tanking they did, they only got one dude out of it, and it just can't be that. Jahlil Okafor, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Nerlens Noel. It just can't be all of that, right? Who was the MP dub, right? Michael Porter Williams. Who was the dude that was rookie of the year that one year? I'm forgetting. There's so many, I won't call them bust, but so many dudes that just were never going to be part of the real process that it's just like, yo, dogs, like how is this really still a thing? The crown jewel, the man who took the name of the tanking and just put it all on himself because even he realized, I'm the last piece left. I'm the only piece that's worth a damn from this tanking. So he took the name and calls himself, I'm the process. And the process in all these years has still yet to get to a conference finals. You're the process, yet you can't get to a conference final. And you made history yesterday. You made history. The only MVP to never, ever make the conference finals. You're the first. You, Joel Embiid, shut out the Cameroon. But still, you are the first MVP to not make it to the conference finals. There's a bunch of stats we could talk about when it comes to this, but ultimately, to me, thank you, Scrub Zero, Michael Carter Williams, that's who it was. Another dude that just came and went, had that 1 year, was rookie of the year and came and went. You were the MVP. Kendrick Perkins started a race war for you to get MVP. Perk started a race war for you to win MVP. And you rewarded those who rode for you, even though Jokic is better. We rode for you just off GP. We rode for Embiid just because, you know what? Yeah, why are we giving it to Jokic 3 straight that hasn't been done since Larry Bird? Nah. Switch it up. Word. Cameroon. We outside. And that dude went out there and he can't even make it to the conference finals. Al Horford, Embiid stopper. It's not an anomaly. There's actual data. Do we need to go to the screen? Do we need to go to the screen? You know what? Let's go ahead and go to the screen. Because nope, not that one, this one. Embiid when Horford as primary defender in Game 7. 3 of 16. 3 of 16. Now, I've been killing Embiid in multiple group chats only for the sake of there were numerous times, like even though 16 field goal attempts with Horford as a primary defender, I don't mind that per se. My problem with Embiid was when Marcus Smart was on him. When Marcus Smart is on you and you're 7 foot plus, 280, 290 plus, I don't care how fucked up your knee is. I don't care. You got a dude who is at least 7, 8, 9 inches shorter than you, and you got the ball face up at the top of the key on the wing? Why? And then the few occasions he would actually go down there and fight for position, he couldn't hold his position. What about you being 7 foot plus, 280 plus, and the MVP of the league means you also can hold your post position against Marcus Smart? But you can't do it alone, right? I know y'all heard it. I got the clip. Can't do it alone. You out here smiling, bringing up Giannis's bullshit quote about failure? You gonna run that back just because you got nothing to say? Because you know how shaky in the light you look? Is that really what we doing? Joel Embiid, fraud. And I've tried hard not to say it about someone that looks like Embiid, that at times can play bully ball like Embiid. But when you look at the other half, the fact that his conditioning is always subpar. We can look at the fact that this isn't the first time Marcus Smart has been able to push Joel Embiid out the paint. When you look at the fact that Al Horford, who was clowned when he was a Sixer, he would lock Embiid before he became a Sixer when he was with Boston the first time around, would clamp Embiid. Then Philly said, shit, well, the only thing that's stopping us, in theory, is they got Embiid and he clamps, they got Horford, he clamps Embiid. So let's go sign him away from them, then we should be good. And Horford was such a disaster and couldn't fit in that they got out of that by midseason. Just for him to spin the block and go back to Boston and continue clamping Embiid. That's y'all MVP. That's who Perk caused a race war for to get MVP. Jokic, who's looking like he's top 5 right now. And there's a scenario where they can get the Lakers out of here quick, fast, in a hurry. He might be able to get a chip off. And we out here causing race wars for this man to get an MVP. He can't even get to the conference finals. That's y'all MVP? But he's getting pushed out the paint by Marcus Smart. He can't body Derek White. Soft. Fraud. I won't even say choke, because what did he choke? He just what he always does. Is Joel Embiid a loser? Is he straight up and down a loser? And yes, how can a guy that scores so much he's the MVP? Nah, dogs, it's deeper than rap. It's deeper than rap. This man is the face of the rebuild. He baptized himself the process that put all this pressure upon him to be the guy. From when they were trying to figure out what the hell to do with Okafor, from when they were trying to figure out what the hell to do when it was Colangelo up in there, with Fultz and Ben and Joel, to trying to turn it over to rebuild on the fly, bringing Doc in, alleged championship pedigree. We'll get to him. They get Hinkie out. Here comes Colangelo. Then we got to get Colangelo out of there. All the nonsense, wifey with the cell phone, the burners. This has been a joke franchise the entirety of this process. This has been a poverty franchise the entirety of this process. We lit today. The bullshit stops today. If you got Philly hate, leave it in the chat. Live. And if you're watching this later on the replay, in the comments, all Sixer hate, I want it. I want to feed off of it because I am tired of protecting a fraudulent poverty franchise like the Philadelphia 76ers. It is time. Embiid is not who y'all think he is. Perk went out here and started a race war to get this man MVP. And this is the reward he got. Getting locked up by Al Horford and Marcus Smart in a Game 7. When the bright lights are on, the only moments we have of Joel is running to the corner and getting that 3 dotted in his eye by Kawhi up in Toronto. And now we have numerous images from playoff series, from then to now of him coming up small in a big spot if he's even healthy enough to be in a big spot in the first place. It's done. It's a wrap. I don't want to hear any more about no Philly shit. It's over. That nut-ass bull is a wrap for him. I'm going to go to the chat, but I'm lit today. Just so y'all know, it's time. Boogie down. You don't know about the race war? Perk started all of this. Perk single-handedly got this man the MVP by questioning whether Jokic was deserving of being a 3-time MVP and bringing up the fact of Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, and European or foreign-born players getting multiple MVPs. So that was enough to dirty the pool for people to start reassessing, and they're like, well, wait a minute, Perk might be on to something here. How come all the last multiple-time MVPs have been foreign-born? Even though Embiid's foreign-born, but he was pushing the narrative because he didn't mention the Nigerian freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he mentioned Steve Nash. He mentioned Dirk, even though Dirk only won one. But he did enough. He put Jokic out there. He put Dirk out there. He put Nash out there. So he shifted the conversation just enough to allow Embiid, with a hot last couple of months of the regular season, to, in most people's eyes, steal an MVP. Because at that point, it was Jokic. He was coasting to that third MVP. But Perk starting the race war, him beefing with JJ Redick on the 4-letter network, that shifted the conversation. Boogie down, you are bugging about Jokic, but hey, man, to teach his own. Scrub Zero, I heard that BS. Embiid said this amongst other reasons why I never trusted Philly. They never gave you a reason to trust them. They never gave you a reason. Even when they had Ben, it's always been somebody else's fault. Now it's no longer everybody else's fault. There's no more Ben to kick around. There's no Markelle Fultz. There's no Jahlil Okafor. There's no one to kick around. There's no Robert Covington. There's no guys that they could just keep throwing under the bus and claiming it's their fault. There's only one person's fault to me. Doc Rivers, who he is, who we always known him to be, a fraud as a coach. James Harden is who we always have known him to be, a superstar that comes up small in a big spot. Joel's been the one that's ducked that smoke. The only smoke we give to Joel is you're either always hurt or you're out of shape and you can't last the whole season. Those have been the only two bugaboos on Joel Embiid. I'm saying it's time to even stop those narratives and go right to the source and say, dude, you ain't it. You just ain't it. You can look the part at times. You can have a dominant regular season you can have a dominant regular season by the numbers. But again, in the playoffs, when the bright lights are on and teams are focused on stopping you and only you can't fight through. Scrub Zero, I don't want to put that tag on a player, but Embiid is trending himself into loser. Dog, I'm saying it, bruh. He is a loser. Hard stop. Hard stop. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Philly fans cloaking him in this thing of, well, he's the only guy we got, so we have to protect. No, you don't. Air him out like y'all do others. Air him out like y'all do others. Y'all used to air out McNabb, air him out. Air out Embiid. It's okay. It's okay. Y'all used to air out Stack before that run in 01. Y'all used to air out AI. Like, go ahead. It's okay. It's a safe space. It's a safe space. It was Sam Hinkie's fault. It's Colangelo's fault. Daryl Morey's fault. Doc Rivers' fault. The Beard's fault. Ben Simmons' fault. Nerlens Noel's fault. Jahlil Okafor. Markelle Fultz. Michael Carter-Williams. Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler. It's everybody else's fault. No. The guy who's been the best player on the team for all this time can't get this team to the conference finals, not once. Whether it's in the bubble, whether it's in a shortened season, whether he's had favorable paths, all these situations have been laid out in front of him, and not once can he break through. Stop it. Scrub Zero, Embiid is not him. He damn sure ain't. Whatever you say, Boogie Down, I'm talking that talk right now. If you just want to make it about, all of that, then that's fine. But we here to air it out the real truth. Jokic is better than Embiid. You can't tell me after that performance you saw yesterday that Embiid is still better than Jokic. I don't want to hear that shit, bro. Don't want to hear it, bro. I'm not saying Perk wasn't wrong. I'm not saying Perk was wrong. I'm saying that point didn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, that point didn't really matter. Because if we look at it, Embiid scored more. The defense point is fair. But in terms of importance to the team, I don't know if Embiid is more important to the Sixers than Jokic is to the Nuggets. I don't know about that. So if we're going by the true definition of who's more valuable, I don't know if it's clear that Embiid is more valuable to the Sixers than Jokic is to the Nuggets. Jokic is literally everything. He's the point guard. He's the big man in the paint. He's starting to break. Like, what else do you need Jokic to do to prove that he's not overrated? Oh, what, because he doesn't block shots? Rudy Gobert blocks shots. You care about that when he does it? Scrub Zero, Embiid is mentally weak. It certainly appears to be. If you want to give me the talk of he puts a lot of pressure on himself because, again, he baptized himself the process. No one asked you to do that. You decided to take an era that was known for ineptitude and baptize yourself and try to rebrand it and make it, no, well, if I say trust the process, everyone thinks doom and gloom, Sam Hinkie, all of that stuff. Okay, well, how can I flip the narrative and turn the process into something good? Well, I'm still here. I'm nice. I'm the last remnants of it. All right, I'm going to flip this into a good thing and say, well, now I'm the process. So when you say trust the process, you're saying trust me. Well, how has that worked since he's done that? Trust that you get eliminated in the second round every single goddamn time. That's the only thing we can really trust. That's the process of getting eliminated in the second round. Screw up. I would just start building this team up through Maxey. Embiid is who he is, and Harden is old, and we knew. I mean, Harden's gone, bro. I would be stunned if Harden stays. It's been the worst kept secret that he wants to go back to Houston. Houston's got a lot of young dudes, and yeah, I think he's gone. And even if he somehow decides to stay for this chip, for this chase for an elusive chip, like, what can they do to get better? Unless they go get a new coach. And I think the best coach is right there next to Doc Rivers and Sam Cassell. But who knows? If these other teams were smart, that, if Phoenix was smart, they will be hollering at Sam. But who knows if he still stays there? If they get rid of Doc Rivers and they don't elevate Sam Cassell, why would Sam Cassell stay there? There's a lot of problems there in Philly outside of the fact that their best player comes up soft year after year after year. Nuggets have a better roster. Jokic wouldn't do anything. Bruh, boogie down. Embiid is playing with a Hall of Famer. He's playing next to the beard of former MVP. What are you talking about? He's playing next to a former MVP. He's playing next to a guy that has at one time led the league in scoring and at another time led the league in assists. You bugging, bruh. You bugging. I understand you don't like Jokic because of the way he looks. That's fine. That's a you thing. For me, I've come around to Jokic because my thing with him was the defense, right? But we just went through this last week. The defensive rating had a 105 defensive rating. Yes, he's not a shot blocker. Who the fuck cares? That's not the only element of being a defensive big man. He moves his feet enough, and he has size, and he knows how to use it, unlike Embiid, offensively and defensively. Like, man, y'all really got to stop with the anti-Jokic stuff. I get it. The optics and all of that, I get it. I'm not sitting here saying I don't understand the perspective. What I'm saying is that you can't tell me you watch, enjoy, and know basketball and see what Jokic is doing and just pass that off like it's light. Just average a triple-double in the whole series. As a 7-footer, as a footer, we're going to poo-poo that. We just Kevin Durant, D-Book on one side, I'm on the other side, and I'm getting 50-point triple-doubles. That's overrated. What are we doing? Since when is a 50-point triple-double overrated? Since when? In real life, not 2K. Not 2K. Not 2K on rookie. A 50-point triple-double IRL. We're treating it like it's mid. What? Man, you can say Harden is washed. This man put up 240 pieces in this series. I don't want to hear Harden's washed. He put up 240 pieces in this series. So if you're saying Jokic is overrated when he putting up 50-point triple-doubles, then that means Harden's 240 pieces are overrated. Then that means the one good game Joel Embiid had in this series is overrated. That means all these Jason Tatum yesterday, that 50-piece was overrated. We got to say all of it's overrated then. All of it. And the problem with this switching, and let me shrink the screen here so we can all see. Tony, I am here to air stuff out today. No. Embiid on these switches, bruh. What the hell was up with Doc? And excuse me as I adjust this, but the screen is bothering me with how it looks. The way that they decided to guard Tatum when he was a raging inferno, it was Steph-like. It was Steph-like yesterday. And it's kind of like, well, why don't you try something different, Doc? I know the trend in today's NBA is to auto switch everything because that's the easiest way to stop the roller, or no, in this case, the screener, with turning the corner. That's the one thing you want to do, stop the penetration. Stop the penetration. But like, at some point, when Mans is a raging inferno, when you keep switching, it was like hunting Steph. Remember when the Cavs came back from 3-1 down? It's mainly because they just went iso ball between Bron and Kyrie, and they hunted Steph on every single possession. Find where Steph is, and whoever Steph is, remember, they used to hide Steph on the worst offensive player. Go find Steph, have that person set a screen so we could get that switch. Kyrie, yo, Tristan, he's guarding you. You come over here and set a screen. JR, he's guarding you. You come over here, set a screen. Because I need that switch so I could go one-on-one with Steph. And they systematically dismantle that man for the next 3 straight games to get that chip, including Kyrie dotting his eye in Game 7. But the auto switching still continues when there's clear-cut examples that you should try to do something else. Tatum is a raging inferno bombing away, and they keep hunting the MVP of the league, okay? Again, they chose that the weakest defender to guard Jason Tatum was the MVP of the league. And your man's Glenn Doc Rivers had nothing for it. Absolutely nothing for it. 8 of 10, 4 threes, 4 free throws, 24 points on Embiid alone. Damn near half of that 50 piece was on the MVP of the league on a switch that you could have stopped doing at any point throughout that game. Bruh. Doc gotta go. You can't move Embiid. I would gladly let Harden go back to H-Town. Let him go back down there with the strip clubs. He never wanted to leave really in the first place. So just let him go back to where he feels comfortable. And I don't know what the rebuild is. If you know, I think Scrub is saying Maxey, build around him and Maxey. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Like, Maxey to me is a complimentary piece. He's like a I don't want to insult him and say he's Jordan Poole, but I think he's just a notch above like a Jordan Poole in terms of, I don't know if he's by himself or if he's a second option, if he goes off the way that he has over the last 2 seasons. I don't know. I don't see it. So, but they might have no choice because if Harden walks, you know, I don't know who they can get in free agency. I don't know who looks at that roster and say, they're just a me away from a chip. I don't know who that person is, but I don't think anybody worth the damn. Like, there's always been rumors of Dame. You know, I don't know if that's to Dame to Philly. To me, doesn't make a lot of sense. It'll be very sexy, like the Harden thing was sexy. On paper, on 2K, sexy. IRL, mid. The whole league overrated, bro. Yeah, I mean, I respect. I'll say this about Boogie Down, you know, and I think he knows this, but like, even though I may not agree with him, I always let him get his shit off. You know, but if he has his opinions, he's entitled to it. That's fine. I can agree to disagree, but you know, he still pulls up. He still, you know, makes his voice heard, and we still respect him around these parts. But I mean, to say that Jokic is overrated, then that means the whole league is overrated. He's saying yes, because it's not, you know, the 90s or the early 2000s. Let's go ahead and keep that a buck, though, Boogie Down. The basketball in the early 2000s, what was so great about that basketball? I mean, I'm talking Shaq, Kobe, Lakers. Like, Shaq, basketball was great if you were a Laker fan. But, like, the basketball itself was mid. Be late in the, you know, games were in the 80s. Like, yes, the game was more physical. Yes, the game was more intensive in terms of defense, you know, and the attention to detail on playing defense. You also got away with a lot more from a physicality standpoint, from a fouling standpoint in the 2000s. But I mean, if you weren't a Laker fan, did you enjoy early 2000s basketball? I mean, I enjoyed basketball of every era. I'm an 80s baby, so I saw it in the early 90s through to where we're at now. So I've seen all the different, you know, landscapes and different eras of basketball. And I don't have a preference of one over the other. I just enjoy basketball, but I also acknowledge things change. And while we grow up with certain images and those images mean more to us than stuff we're looking at right now, that to me doesn't mean that, oh, this particular era can't hang with that era. Now, there's certain players today that I feel can't hang with some of those dudes back then, just like there's dudes back then that I feel can't hang with some dudes today. Like, I think that should be the conversation. If you want to do that, like, y'all think Clyde Drexler will be killing shit today? Hell no. But just like I had a video on the channel, y'all think George Niang is going to go be dropping 50 pieces in the early 2000s or in the 90s? I'll hit the chat. Scrub, sometimes you got to hand the reins to the young guy and see if he can make it work. I mean, yeah, I mean, if that's the play for Maxey, I'm not mad at it. I mean, when Harden was cooking and he was cooking at the same time, they called Maxey Baby Harden. So, I mean, you know, if he could get that off and be a better, younger, more efficient version of the Beard, cool. I don't see that from a point guard perspective or from a lead guard perspective. I see it from a shooting, scoring perspective. But I don't think he has all the other skill sets that peak James Harden had, that peak Beard had. Okay, so Boogie Down is trying to trap me here. So understand that this is him trying to trap me, right? So do the Nuggets have a better overall roster than the Sixers? Yes or no? Here's your answer. I'm not going to answer a yes or no question because that is not a yes or no question, because you can't just say better overall, because we're not counting the guys that are 7 to 12. We're not counting those guys. The guys that are in the starting lineup for the Nuggets and the guys that are in the starting lineup for the Sixers can be perceived as equivalent. Embiid, Jokic, Tobias Harris, MPJ, James Harden, Jamal Murray. Like, there's some things here that you can break down in terms of whose roster is better. That's fine. But it's playoff time, Boogie Down. These dudes ain't playing. The 10th guy on the Nuggets ain't playing. These guys are going 7 deep. Pause. T-Mac, Steve Francis, Marbury, AI, etc. I like those types of players. It was more exciting to me. No, and look, here's the thing. I don't want you to think we're not on the same type of time. I love that era too. But I also know that era's limitations. Of those guys that you just mentioned, the only one who could shoot is T-Mac later in his career and Marbury. AI couldn't shoot. He was streaky as hell. Same thing with Steve Francis. Exciting as hell. Had bunnies. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that era's trash. What I'm saying is that as much as I enjoyed that era of ball too, just because I enjoy that era of ball too, for me, I can still find ways to enjoy today's era just as much, if not better at times. Like Anthony Davis, there was no player like Anthony Davis in the 90s. There was no player like Anthony Davis in the early 2000s. So I enjoy watching a guy that I literally have not seen before in Anthony Davis play basketball. The Nigerian freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, same deal. I enjoy watching a dude like that who I've never seen play basketball like that, play the game of basketball. That to me does not make him overrated. It doesn't make him soft, even though I can certainly nitpick his game. I could go back and nitpick Patrick Ewing's game. And I loved Patrick back in the day, and I hate the Knicks. But I loved Patrick Ewing from Georgetown. But I could tear apart his game just like I could tear apart Giannis's game. There's no difference to me from that perspective. I love Marbury. I be telling people all the time, Marbury should be a Hall of Famer even before all the China shit. Marbury is a Hall of Fame point guard and he will never get the flowers that he deserves. I ride for Marbury, pause. But when it comes down to, I can critique his game as well. I mean, man was eating Vaseline on the live stream and having his mans caress his chest. It was a lot going on, bro. It was a lot. I don't know if you want to just say that era was so great when one of the best players of that era was on a live stream with his chest exposed eating Vaseline. I don't know if that's the era we really want to hype up as being better than today. Scrub Zero again. Now, if you breathe on the guy, it's a foul. Yeah, that's the thing. Like that is, it's a difference in the ball. It's a difference in the weight and the style of play. Everything today is threes, layups, and get into the free throw line. We can thank the Warriors. We can thank the Suns of D'Antoni. We can thank those teams for pushing it forward to just be all about pace and efficiency. It started with D'Antoni 7 seconds or less, and it got, I guess, bastardized by the Warriors and all their threes with Steph and Clay. So that's where we're at. Boogie Down Nuggets starting lineup is better, not even close. I mean, okay. All right, man. Hey, agree to disagree. I'm just saying there is an argument there because you're telling me, because again, you're just saying Harden is washed when he had 240 pieces in this conference semifinal. Okay. Michael Porter Jr. disappeared every road game imaginable in this last series for the Nuggets. Disappeared, was nowhere to be found. But you're going to tell me he's better than whoever, right? Like that to me is problematic. Because if we're really talking about the starting lineup, PJ Tucker and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, to me, they do the same thing. Now, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a better scorer, but they're there to shoot open threes. That's their job. Now, Kentavious is a little bit more dynamic with the rock, but to me, that doesn't make him automatically better. But then you're talking Jokic and Embiid. In your mind, you would take Embiid. So that's check that goes to Philly. You're taking Jamal Murray over the Beard. I would do the same, but there's a lot of people that still feel the Beard can get it done, and he just put up 240 pieces in this series against a good defensive team in Boston. Tobias Harris, Aaron Gordon, they both are inconsistent offensively, and they both are respectable defensively. I don't think that's an automatic wash for the Nuggets and Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon has been very mid in his Denver Nugget tenure. He's a name. He was a scorer in Orlando. He's not a scorer no more. He's playing now for defense. And Michael Porter Jr. is erratic as hell. He only plays well at home. So he's a role player. So they got 2 role players in their starting lineup. And then they got 3 guys, well, really 2 guys who can go. And a third that has a reputation years ago that can go. Whereas you could look at the Sixers in the same way. While they have Embiid, then you're talking about PJ Tucker, then you're talking about the Beard, then you're talking about Maxey, then you're talking about Tobias Harris. Like, to me, that's not, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. It's all good. Scrub Zero, why everyone hate the Knicks, man? Hey, look, Scrub, I could tell you for my own thing. For me, it's because I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens, and I was surrounded by Knicks fans growing up. And it annoyed me that a team that was never that good has such a fervent fan base. Like, the kids in school would always be hyping up the Knicks. And I'm like, yo, I didn't even have cable, so I couldn't even watch all the games back in the day. But I used to read the newspaper OD. Read everything about sports, read everything about the Knicks, read everything about all the other basketball teams. That's how I kept up to speed, even though I didn't have cable. So that's how I know the numbers. Because dudes would just be watching the game. Nothing was really sticking. I'm reading all the extensive details of the game. That's how I had to keep up. So when I would go to school, I would have to be like, yo, did you see the game last night? Now in my head, I'm like, well, I saw the highlights on Channel 7. But yeah, I saw the game. And they're like, yo, do you remember that play? Yeah, because that was in the highlight package. But then I would hit him with, yeah, but Ewing was only 5 of, I'm let's make up a number. Ewing was only 5 of 18, but he had like the 13 boards and a couple of assists. They're like, oh, word, because they had no idea. They're just watching the game. They're just watching it. I'm reading the shit. I'm studying the numbers. And I'm like, yeah, that's like the 3rd game in a row where Ewing hasn't really shot nowhere close to 50%. Oh, word? Yeah, because I'm reading. I'm reading the info. But hearing them just keep telling me how nice the Knicks were, and I'm like, the numbers don't say that. The highlights I'm watching on local TV and what I'm reading every morning does not say that. Why do you keep making this team sound so good? They're not that good. So I just carried that into my adulthood because Knicks fans, as they were my friends that got older, they never stopped being that way. So that's why I call myself, I'm chief Knicks hater number 1. Boogie Down Marbury was sus. But yeah, that was a weird video, man. That was a weird video, bro. Eating Vaseline with your chest all exposed, with your man caressing his shoulder while gospel music is playing. Yeah, bro. Some weird times. Weird times. Corey in here. He's our resident Sixer guy, by the way. Embiid gave Jokic a 50 ball. I mean, yes, that did happen. That did happen. Boogie Down, don't forget the We Believe Warriors. Yeah, yep. That was Don Nelson. He always did that. He always did that because he did it even with Run TMC back in the day, even before the We Believe. But yeah, no doubt that was a squad that could run. They could get up and down. Jay Rich is a dude that's forgotten by history. Jay Rich could go. B. Diddy, Al Harrington. Yep. Captain Jack, Matt Barnes. Yeah. I mean, I think Run TMC. Maybe right after that, because when they got Weber was when they kind of realized, oh shit, this dude is 6'9", 6'10" with handle, like legit handle, not just, oh, he can dribble for a big guy. No, he's got guard handle. Like, I think that whole Warrior thing, like 90s, mid 90s into late 90s when it was Run TMC to then Weber was there for like only a couple of years, and then they passed it off. Then they finally got it back on track with the We Believe. So yeah, that was definitely a fun era. Oh yeah, Scrub, Southside till I die. Southside till I die. You know how I get down. Salute. We outside. Merrick Boulevard and Williamson Ave. What's good? Merrick and Williamson. Right off Montauk. We outside. Q5 bus, dollar vans, all that. Yeah, keep me hyping the Knicks. They've been sorry the past. The Knicks have literally been trash my entire life, bruh. The Knicks have been sus. The Knicks have only been good. I guess this is the 4th time they've been good in my life. The 4th time. The 90s run. Then the early 2000s run with Camby and Sprewell. Then like the mellow run. And now this run with Brunson and Randall and the meniscus tearing taskmaster Tom Thibodeau. Literally 4 times in my entire life. Corey, while you were a sports fan, who broke your heart more, Bulls or Bears? Well, the Bulls never broke my heart. That was the gift of Jordan, right? The Bulls thing was good. Even after Jordan left, I still stuck with the Bulls. I know a lot of people that I went to school with, like junior high school and high school. They bounced as soon as Jordan retired the second time. Not the first time, but the second time. They still bounced. And I was a dumb, idiot, loyal fan at that point. So I still rode with the Bulls when they had Pete Myers, Marcus Fizer, Eddie Robinson, who else? Obviously Eddie Curry, Tyson Chandler later, but those first couple of mean years, oof, it was rough to be a Bulls fan, but I stuck with it because I didn't know any better. I didn't know, I could just only like Michael Jordan and I could just stop following his team. Like, you got people that are openly like, I'm a LeBron fan. I go wherever he go. I never knew that was a thing. I thought you had to rock with the team and that's it. Like, if I would have known that, I would just like, Jordan's leaving. Oh, I'm not watching Pete Myers. I'm not going to chase down newspapers to find out what Pete Myers did tonight. I don't give a shit that Marcus Fizer went 3 for 11 again. I'm not going to care about that. But the Bears, though, the Bears only because when they were actually good, like that 85 Super Bowl, I was too young to know what the fuck was going on. So I only could enjoy remnants of it. Like, I understood that it happened, but I had no part in it. So when they went to that Super Bowl against the Colts, that was my first chance of like, oh, this is what the Bears are when they're good. And then they shit the bed against the Colts with Prince masturbating on his guitar at halftime in South Beach in the rain. Good times. Boogie down. What you think went wrong with Monta Ellis? That boy was cold on. Nah, Monta Ellis, what went wrong? Steph. Steph showing up and basically being a better version of Monta Ellis. Like, that's kind of what happened, unfortunately. Like, they had to make a choice. Like, I remember that. Like, I took my dad to his only basketball game, and it was like, I think Steph's second year. It was Steph's second year. But we didn't go because of Steph, because Steph wasn't Steph yet. I went because I took my dad because he was amazed at Nate Robinson. He was amazed that a dude that small could do the things that Nate Robinson did. So I got tickets from the gig I had at the time, WFAN, and we went to a shitty New Jersey Nets game versus the Warriors when the Warriors were not the Warriors. But they had Steph, but he was like in his second year. And they had Nate Robinson. So, and my dad was just thrilled that he could just see this tiny ass dude on this court of just giants and get buckets. But the problem with Monta Ellis was that, they drafted Steph Curry. And it was all she wrote after that. Because Monta was a bucket. No doubt about it. Monta was underrated and had some decent years even after he finally moved on from the Warriors, but it was never the same. Like, look, this dude was playing 40 minutes a night. This dude was a bucket. He was out there all the time, 25 a night. And then what year Steph got drafted? What was that, 2012, 2013? What year Steph came in? Oh, 09. Shit, yeah. 09. Yeah, so if that's the case, I think me and my dad saw Steph, I think somewhere in here. Either 2011 or 2012. So either Steph's second or third year. And that's what happened. So if he got there in 09, we can probably track, that this is when it happened. So when Monta Ellis was going crazy, leading the league in minutes, giving you 25 a night, then Steph came, and then immediately they got him up out of there. Immediately. 1 year the next year, right? So he got that second year when Steph was still learning and sitting behind him. And Steph talked about it, how difficult it was. So it's not like there was beef or anything, but it's definitely some animosity because Monta was the guy. He was the guy for a lot of years there. He was the man in the Bay. He was a bucket. And then, he gets traded midseason to the Bucks. And he still was a bucket, right? Like you see him with the Bucks and then the Mavs and then the Pacers at the end. That was pretty much the end. But he was a guy that could go. Corey didn't know the story about Unc. Yeah, it was weird. My dad was not the biggest basketball guy. He's probably the definition of casual. He's the definition of casual sports fan. Like, he knew enough to have conversations. Like, he could keep up to a certain degree, but like once it got hardcore, he would bow out. But I wanted to take him to a game because he would always ask me about how is Nate Robinson able to play basketball at that level. So I was like, oh, well, shit. My job is always giving away free tickets because no one was going to New Jersey Nets games. I said, let's ride out the Jers. Let's ride out to that dump of an arena and go pull up. He enjoyed it. It was a good time. I'm pretty sure. He never went to any sports events like that. So that's probably his only professional sport event. Boogie down. Steph was a better shooter, but Monte had better. Ooh, I don't know about that. Monte has better handles and could finish at the rim way better. Yo, Boogie down. You're gonna have to keep reminding people you're from the West Coast. Just because when you say things like this, I'm immediately inclined to just talk that shit, but then like, oh, nope. Boogie Down's out there on the West Coast. They might have viewed Stephon, Starbury, Marbury a little different, but I could tell you, literally watching Steph when he was growing up hooping, Monte did not have better handles than Marbury. Monte was a better shooter. I'll give you that. Like, you're saying Steph's a better shooter. I don't know about that. I actually think you got this like backwards. I think Monte was a better shooter and Steph had better handles. And Steph could definitely finish better at the rim, bro. Like, the finishes I used to see Marbury make back in the day, like just on the blacktop, not even in professional ball or even college. Like, shit, when he used to go to the Rucker or just hooping at the cages or West 4th. Nah. That's, yeah. If we flip that, I'm rolling. Monte better shooter, because let's see. I mean, Steph might have him in 3-point percentage, but just in terms of jump shooting, it might be close. Let's see. Can we compare? They should have this. Where is it? Compare. Here we go. Stephon Marbury. This supposed to be open season on the goddamn Sixers, and look where the chat has took us. We're comparing Monte Ellis and Stephon Marbury, but I'm here for it. Fuck it. All right, so statistically, Monte Ellis was a better 2-point shooter. Marbury was 0.1% better from 3. So from 2-point range, Monte was a good deal better. But from 3, Marbury barely edges out Monte Ellis. Effective field goal percentage is Monte Ellis. Obviously, Marbury was more of a real point guard than Monte. That's interesting, though, that you think Monte had better handles. That's interesting. Maybe that's my New York bias coming out. I don't know. But I just saw Marbury way more in real life. That makes me lean more towards Marbury than Monte. Monte had a bag. I ain't trying to say he didn't have a bag, but that Marbury shit, seeing it in person, different, bruh. Different. All right, so that's that on that. Now let's see if we can continue to roast. Let's see. I had the Embiid sound. I had all this shit ready, and we went way left. All right, let's see where we at now in all these damn tabs. All right, so do we want to hear Embiid talk his bullshit? All right, I'll give y'all a sample of this. I might just save some of this other stuff for the podcast, but let me see. Let me get this pause. Let's see, Embiid.
For you with James, and like as a tandem going forward, and how much are you going to be in his ear this summer to kind of have him come back here?
Oh, my bad, Boogie Down. I didn't know you meant Steph Curry. My bad. I thought you was talking about Stephon Marbury. See, you got me in this 90s brain set now, 90s, 2000s. I bet. I'll get back to that.
An unfinished, job. We haven't won anything, and I think we
haven't won anything.
Job, We haven't won anything. You know, job. We haven't won anything. We haven't won anything. We haven't.
It sounds like music.
Any job. We haven't won anything, and I think we got the chance.
Plenty
to win.
chances. Plenty of chances.
Obviously going to 7 games, and
he's happy they got 7
games. Chance to close it out at home, which we didn't do.
Oh, by the way, he didn't touch the rock for the last 4 minutes of Game 6. Game 6 at the crib, trying to close it out, while Tatum again is going crazy. Tatum's going crazy. Fourth quarter at the crib, you're trying to eliminate this team. Tatum's going crazy, and the MVP of the league didn't touch the ball for 4 minutes in the fourth quarter.
We got the chance to win. We got what it takes to win. So
win what? You got what it takes to win what? Like, where's the follow-up questions?
What it takes to win. So we got what it takes to win. So,
to win what?
We got what it takes to win. So,
to win a round, yes.
We got what it takes to win. So,
but nothing else after that.
We got what it takes to win. So obviously, I don't know what's going on, and I know he has a player option. So
talking about the beard there.
They can extend him. But that's on those guys to figure it out. I'm gonna stay out of it, but I still believe.
Why would you stay out of it? You're the best player on the team. If you want the beard back, go tell Morey you want the beard back. Why are you trying to be passive aggressive? I'm gonna let those guys handle that. Like, come on, dogs.
That me and them.
If you're the process, then be the damn process.
And we got the chance to win, but it's gonna take more than us. We all gotta look at ourselves.
It's gonna take more than us.
I gotta be better, and I will be better. That's what I'm focused on.
He says that every year.
Be better. I gotta be better. I gotta be better.
Every year.
I gotta be better.
Every year.
Be better. I gotta be better.
Every year.
I gotta be better, and I will be better. That's what I'm focused on. All of us, we gotta, come back and find ways to just keep improving and help the team.
You're not improving enough, bro.
I can't win alone. Me and James, we just can't win alone. That's why basketball is played 5-on-5. So, we just need everybody.
Nonsense.
Try to keep finding ways to get better, and we'll be fine.
All right, so there's Joel Embiid. A lot of word salad, a lot of words that don't really mean anything in the long run because he's saying the things that he has to say in that spot. But since I got that wrong, when it comes to Marbury, so we're talking Steph. So then, yeah, that's a no-brainer then. That's a no-brainer then. Yeah, so yes. So now the point makes sense. Steph was a better shooter, but Monte has better handles. Although you could argue, you think Steph's handles hasn't gotten better to the point where it could be at least equal Monte? Early, yes, Steph did not have the handles he has now. But I think now Steph's handles are probably better than Monte at his peak. Steph now, not Steph back then when they were playing together because he was a rook. He was a youngin', but is Embiid better than prime Dwight Howard? No. And there's your yes or no answer to a yes or no question. Dwight Howard's one of the most underrated centers of all time. Yes, he is a clown show off the court and sometimes even on the court. But when that man was hooping, peak Dwight, peak D12, he beat LeBron. He beat young in his prime LeBron with Jameer Nelson. I'm very pro peak Dwight Howard. So I'm here to air all that shit out if need be. One of the earliest videos on this channel is me talking about Remember there was that debate like during the pandemic or during quarantine or whatever about how Dwight Howard wasn't a Hall of Famer. That was one of the earliest videos on this channel. And let me see if I can pull that up here. I don't want to put stuff out here that's not supposed to be out here. Let me see. One of the earliest videos on this channel was that video. Let's see. It was part of my trash narrative series. That's why y'all see the little trash narrative thing as my header. Where am I at? Why can't I find that so fast? That's crazy. Yep, here we go. I won't play the sound. Let's see. Dwight Howard is not a Hall of Famer. Trash narrative. Yep. This is Young D, Sam D. This is my old apartment in Yonkers. But yeah, I did a whole video, trash narrative. Dwight Howard is not a Hall of Famer, which means, you know, he is a Hall of Famer. So it's a trash narrative. So yeah, I've been here, dog. That was 3 years ago. No views as you see, but I'm been here. So yeah. We can have those D12 conversations if you want. I'm here very pro Dwight Howard. I mean, I could argue he was better in Orlando than Shaq was. And there's numbers to prove that. Just saying. But the main thing with Joel Embiid was this quote when he invoked the Nigerian freak Giannis Antetokounmpo and he got off his bag about failure. Really, really whack take, but we'll let him get it off.
So for me, I just look at it, you know, it's a good step. Like someone said, it was not a failure, you know, steps to success. But yeah,
silly.
You just gotta.
Silly.
It's tough.
Smiling through the pain.
But
smiling through the pain, dogs. Smiling through the pain. Smiling through the pain.
Like someone said, it was not a failure, you know, steps to success.
Right there, smiling through the pain. To look down, the body language. The body language will always tell you. One, he wants to laugh because he knows it's a bullshit line. But two, he's trying to smile through the pain. It's your man's Joel Embiid. So, who choked more? To me, it's clearly Embiid. Doc Rivers, we know how inept he is as a coach. We know how that 08 chip keeps eroding every day, and it keeps looking more like an anomaly than him actually being a coach that is capable of coaching a champion. James Harden, we've seen him choke away and become small and shrink in big spots before. The one person we were holding out shade for was Joel Embiid. We've given him all the passes in the world. We blamed Markelle Fultz. We blamed Ben Simmons. We blamed Sam Hinkie. We blamed Colangelo. We blamed Nerlens Noel, Jahlil Okafor. We blamed everybody but Joel Embiid. Now, I started blaming him last year. Now, though, everyone seems to be jumping on board and we're all airing out Embiid, and it's time and it's overdue. And if you're the process, this is what comes with being the process. You get aired out when you fail. You could try to be on that Giannis shit if you want. You failed. And now where's the beer going to go? Everyone's saying Houston, but my man Brian Getzauer is saying don't be surprised if Phoenix is in the mix. I'm hearing there is another team prominently on the radar in addition to Houston. That team is the Phoenix Suns. So Brian Getzauer, he's a guy, he's a host as you see here on, maybe you can't see that there. He's a host on SiriusXM NBA Radio. Full disclosure, I used to work over there and used to work specifically on shows with Brian Getzauer. So I do know him a bit and, you know, been able to chop it up and exchange some ideas with him. But yeah, he's tapped in. He's tapped in. So if he's saying, in addition to Houston, don't be scared or don't be shocked if you hear about Phoenix, that's clearly because of Kevin Durant and because of the pending movement of the point fraud from that team. So there will be a point guard spot available. Do you like Beard, KD, and Book assuming that the point fraud and DeAndre Ayton are out of Phoenix. Do you like that? Or do you like the fact of Harden going down to Houston and teaming up with all the youngins? All right, we'll come off that. Just for a little footnote, the Sacramento Kings have made more conference finals recently than the Philadelphia 76ers. It's a whole bunch of stuff we got here, man. Mario Ellie. Shout out to the Bronx, BX. Mario Ellie. Some players are not built for this time of year. And here's the most, you know what? Let me pull up my my little pro mouse thing. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. Let me get my little highlighter. Some players are not built for this time of year. But you know what's the most important part? He put his location. What's his location? Don't want to see that. Houston, Texas. So we have a guy who is a Houston Rocket legend, won chips there, is already saying some players are not built for this time of year while in Houston. Who do we think this tweet's about? Do we think it's about Joel? Or do we think it's about the dude that used to be in Houston and took Houston far, at least to a conference finals, but found ways to come up small year after year after year, bounced, forced his way out, bounced, and now all of a sudden wants to spin the block because now Houston's got a young core and Mans misses all the strip clubs. So who do we think the Bronx's own Mario Ellie is subtweeting here? Y'all let me know. And then I guess we could go to Ja. And we'll skip the preview for now. We'll save the preview for last. Ja Morant, y'all already know. Y'all already know. Mans just can't get rid of these guns. He can't stop playing around with these guns. He got caught on IG Live. And dude that was driving the car tried to save him. And put the phone down and all of that stuff. But Mans just loves the guns too much. And where is the mental health, community for this? Is this another layer of stress and anxiety? Is this another thing where he has to go back to therapy for a week and a half? The league is certainly treating this way more seriously than the strip club incident. He was able to get away with it one time. Now, doing it a second time, and so soon after the first time, they airing him out. They airing him out, and I've been on this channel talking about Ja when the first stuff happened, and the same thing I said then is the same thing I say now. This man needs to be accountable. He needs to hold himself accountable. And until he does, shit like this is going to keep happening because clearly nothing is going to change. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to change. That's clear. Mans was taking Casamigos to the head, a week ago. And now we see him again. Now he's out there flashing the tool. So, I just don't understand it. And there's a lot of people caping, a lot of people saying, well, we got people that are politicians who, pose family photos with guns or how, and that's fine. But here's the difference. Here is the difference between politicians that pose in pictures with semi-automatics and AR-15s and whatnot. Here's the difference between them and Ja Morant, NBA superstar, Nike spokesperson, Powerade spokesperson, flashing the tool to an NBA YoungBoy song. One camp is going to get positive reaction to taking that photo. The other person is going to get suspended indefinitely, lose sponsorships, and lose all NBA honors, which is also going to cost him $39 million. Now tell me, if you were in the camp of, if I flash a gun on social media, I can lose 40 million, I can lose multiple sponsorships, and I'm going to get suspended indefinitely from my employer. Are you going to do it? Or if you could take a family photo where even the baby is holding an AR-15 and you could get voted into Congress or the Senate or any high-level office and get subsequent money for that, are you going to do it? So yes, there's a double standard. Yes, the optics don't match. However, you literally just told the world you're going to do better about this stuff. You recognized your power, you recognized your standing, you recognized your place in society, and you're not going to mess up again. And literally, under 2 months later, if not even a month later, you're doing the same shit again. Literally on the same platform. like, bruh. I don't want to hear it, man. Like, I know people are going to cape. You know what I'm saying? I know people are going to cape, but I can't stand it, bruh. I can't stand it because I know as working in this industry, I know the type of pressure that is on these athletes and on young black men specifically. And so many of them handle it smoothly and nobody says shit. But the minute one of us fucks up, it's news everywhere. And sometimes it takes that first instance of fucking up to realize like, oh, they watching. Yes. In case you didn't know, yes, they're watching you, Ja. And they're not watching just to put hearts on the vid. They're watching to screen record, screenshot, and repurpose that somewhere else. So when you do something stupid, it's going to get pushed everywhere because you in itself are a commodity and a very valuable one at that. Even with all this shit, you're still a valuable commodity. So you got that one that everyone's like, all right, let's give him some grace. 23 years old, he's 200 M's up. He's the family breadwinner, a lot of pressure. We'll even let him get the lie off about stress and anxiety. We'll even let him get the bullshit off of mental health and, breathing exercises a week and a half, in Florida. Okay, we'll let him get all that off just to wipe it away. All right, dogs. He said all the right stuff. He had to sit down with Jalen. Okay, fine. We'll let you slide. Then you spin the block and do the same shit again? There's so many players that do things the right way. And it's just taken as whatever. But Ja, with this shit here, this now is going to become the narrative. When people think NBA players, when people think young black athletes or just black athletes, period, they're going to think of this instead of the hundreds, if not thousands of black athletes that are doing things the right way with no smoke, with no drama, with no TMZ bullshit. And that's how optics work. Ja now is going to become the poster child. The same thing happened to AI. We were talking about 90s basketball, early 2000s. Same thing happened to AI. When AI had that shit in VA, and that was before he even got to Georgetown, that shit followed him. And he was painted with that brush throughout his career. Even when he won the MVP, people were still calling him a thug. When the only thuggish thing he did after that incident, the bowling incident in VA, was, coming out with a rap song, with an album, 40 Jewels? That shit was hard though. Pause. That shit was tough. That shit was tough. Anywho, but yeah, Ja, man, he's. I don't know how many times this has to happen for him to understand, but clearly he doesn't get it. And clearly he needs to sit down and actually for real go to therapy and actually do the work and not just fucking breathing exercises to get his mind right, to get his attitude right and his mentality right. I'll hit the chat. Scrub Zero sounds like it's talking about James Harden. Yeah, I think Mario Elie was definitely talking about James Harden. I completely agree. And that makes me to think, is that sending a smoke screen to the Rockets? Like, yo, don't bring this dude back. Because everyone just assumes it's a foregone conclusion. It wasn't until today when my guy Brian Getzaler put out the Phoenix tee. But everyone's been saying for a while that the Beard is going to spin the block and go back to Houston. Is Mario Elie trying to speak subliminally to the Rockets like, yo, y'all see that what just happened in Boston? Don't bring that shit back here. We good off that. We saw that at its peak. Now you want to bring that back and it's older, or like Boogie Down said, is washed? Boogie Down, he wants to be in that street life so bad. I remember that saying, ball players want to be rappers and rappers want to be ball players. No, that's facts. That's facts. That's facts. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. You know, Bron's out here A&R'ing records for 2 Chainz. AI had an album. You know, Oladipo's got an R&B album. You know, it's very much crossing paths. Quavo thinks he's a real hooper. 2 Chainz thinks he's a real hooper. J. Cole is literally out here trying out for teams and shit, trying to get into the G League and shit. Like, it's real. Scrub Zero, once is once, but I can't say nothing about a dude who messes up the same way again. Can't shoot him any bail for this one. Nah, you can't. And I think that's where it's different. People were willing to give him a little slack. You know what I'm saying? Because again, he came out here and said all the right stuff. I'll play this and make sure the sound is going to be right. Yeah, it sounds going to be right. All right, cool. I'm going to play this for y'all. This was him after the first time, after the suspension, after the breathing exercises and all of that. This is him, you know, putting his truth out there and trying to get us back on his good side.
Wes comment's going to get thrown back in your face at this point.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't care. I said it. You know, I deal with it. So.
And the other thing I want to ask you, how do you evaluate yourself as the leader of this team this year, and how do you think you can grow in that area?
I just got to be better, you know, with my decision making.
I got to be better with my decision making. Does this look like he is better with his decision making?
That's pretty much it, you know, off the court issues, you know.
Off the court issues. Off the court issues.
Affected us as a, you know, organization, pretty much. So, yeah. Just area. I just got to be better, you know, with my decision making. I just got to be better, you know, with my decision making.
What have we seen since then that makes us think he really believes this?
I just got to be better, you know, with my decision making.
Come on, bro. Come on, man. It's bullshit. We'll save that story. Where's the other stuff with Jai? There we go. Friday Smith on First Take said, I've got people in the league texting me saying Ja Morant should be suspended for the year. So now understand me, I've got people in the league. He's not saying he's got coaches telling him that. He's not saying he's got players telling him that. Again, the words matter in all the stuff that these people say. People in the league. That means in the executive offices of the actual league. Ja, I won't say he's done, but I think he's definitely going to get at least a 50 piece of games. Minimum of 50 piece in a suspension. And he could be gone for the year. And then, when you have people like Mike Wilbon, who is part of the shield of the four-letter network and is part of the same, coverage on the four-letter network show with Friday Smith. Mike Wilbon says his son isn't allowed to wear Ja Morant's signature shoe. That just dropped, by the way. I told my son, you can't have the shoe. Our money as a family is not going toward that. Now, here's where this right here could be more damaging than Ja out here wilding with the gun itself. This statement by Michael Wilbon, who is he, as you see here, he is in the Basketball Hall of Fame as a writer, as a journalist, and has turned it into a TV career. But bruh, like having someone who is of age, 50s, 60s, that has bread, saying to who I'm going to assume is a teenage son, or at least a prepubescent son, you can't have the shoe, our money. And this is where I think Ja keeps misunderstanding. You fucking with the money, bruh. Our money as a family is not going toward that. That's the issue. That's the problem with Ja. He's fucking the money up. Like the incidents, all those incidents, the mall incidents, the high school incidents, the incidents at his crib, in addition to the strip club incident, that's what cost him all NBA honors, which effectively cost him about $40 million. And he was able to hang on to that Nike deal by going to therapy, doing the sit down with Jalen and all of that stuff, saying the right words at the press conference, all of that stuff. But now, how can you save those things that you were hanging on to by a thread a month or so ago when you run it back and do the same bullshit again? You are fucking with the money. And you're fucking with the money of people that are of this age bracket, and that's the money these leagues care about. As much as, they're trying to get big on social and all that stuff, that's fine, but all they really care about, the people who spend money. And when you have someone of his credibility, of his status and stature, saying our money as a family is not going toward that, Ja, you really done fucked up. You really done fucked up, bruh, because this is money. Older black man, I'm assuming his child is black, and this kid probably idolizes Ja, and he wants to wear those kicks, and his father's telling him, not with my money. I don't like that kid. The NBA, Nike, Powerade, they don't want to hear no shit like that. They want all this old black man's money. Nike want him to cash out and buy every colorway. Powerade want him to buy every flavor. NBA want him to get league pass, jerseys, season tickets, all of that, because they know he got it. And he's saying, our money as a family is not going toward that. Ja, good luck, bruh. You done fucked the money up, bruh. They ain't cutting you no slack, bruh. You getting a 50-piece minimum. A 50-piece minimum. Boogie down. This man got a rainbow-colored dress, but think he a gangster. Yeah, bruh, it's a sickness, bruh. It's a sickness, man. Like, dude, all types of shit going on, bruh. Like, dude, like he's just, and he's claiming sets that he ain't really about. And them folks is saying, oh, you need to pay. You need to pay for your repping sets you ain't really about. He about to be like, 6'9" out here. Like, he really need to be careful. He's got the rainbow dreads. He's claiming sets that he ain't really with. Like, he really needs to be careful. He ended up getting jumped at LA Fitness or whatever that was, Planet Fitness, like Tekashi. Like, he really needs to be careful. Is Ja Morant the Tekashi 6'9" of the NBA? It's looking spooky. To me, it's looking spooky. And then we have the release from the Memphis Grizzlies. If you haven't seen it, very straightforward. And again, this is like getting suspended on your day off. Because Ja's not getting no checks from the Grizzlies right now. He ain't getting paid. These dudes don't get paid in the summertime. So when their season's over, they don't get checks until the next season. So they're suspending this dude when they don't really have to say with pay or anything because they ain't paying him anyway. So anyway, we are aware of the social media video involving Ja Morant. He is suspended from all team activities pending league review. Okay? So this means this is all on Adam Silver again. That he came across as soft with the 8-game suspension where he spent 6, as basically his time served because he was in therapy. But now he's not going to get that type of leniency or grace this second time around. We have no further comment at this time. Bruh. Spooky. Corey, suburban kids love the trenches. I mean, see, that's the thing. I don't even know if Josh from the burbs like that. Like, I know he's from South Carolina. I know his pops was a hooper. But, like, he had to give up hooping because they had Ja. I'm not even sure if he's from the burbs like that. He's just a young dude that thinks he can live that life. And if you know the story of Ja was a dude that kind of literally burst on the scene. And not much was known of him as a freshman. Was it at Wright State or Murray State? Was it Murray State? Not much was known of him at Murray State. Like, it wasn't like he was a top recruit or anything like that. But then we all knew his name by the end of his sophomore year. And then he was able to cash out on that and become the second overall pick. So this dude is like the ultimate rags to riches story. He was not a phenom. He was not a AAU darling. He was not a travel team stud. He was not any of this stuff. He just got unearthed at Murray State and started going crazy, and people finally took notice his sophomore year. Freshman year, no one was like really on Ja like that. I defy you to go find me a video of someone in real time back then hyping up Ja. So to go from a dude that no one even knew as a freshman to being the number 2 overall pick as a sophomore, that is a huge just bum rush of like if he really was on the type of time of anxiety and stress, that's where it is. The world did not know me. I'm at Murray State. Ain't nobody fucking watching me there. I'm not on the For the Network. March Madness, I ain't there. But then by the end of my second year, I'm the number 2 pick. That's quite the rise, bruh. Now, if that's the stress, if that's the anxiety of, holy shit, how did we get here? You know what also he should be thinking? Holy shit, we got here. I ain't trying to go back. I'm 200 M's up and nobody knew who I was 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago as a freshman. Now I'm in the league. I'm the face of a franchise. I'm one of the future faces of a whole league. I got a signature shoe. I run my city. I got mom, dad, sis, the homies, they all with me and we all up. How the fuck this happened? I can't go back. Like normally that would be the movements of a dude that would be squeaky clean. He would be afraid to do anything. He would be afraid to drink. That sounds like the movements of a dude that would not be taking multiple Casamigos to the head on PJs or in the club. I was literally a no one. And 18 months later, I'm the second pick in the draft. 3 or 4 years later, now I'm damn near the face of the league with a signature shoe, who is the head of a team that is in the playoff hunt every year because I'm him. I ain't drinking, I ain't smoking, I ain't doing none of this. But again, 23 years old. And maybe because he came from next to nothing or came from a life that wasn't the most privileged, we 200 M's up, we doing it all. And maybe back in South Carolina, we moved a certain way that people didn't know how we moved. And we're going to continue moving like that even here in Memphis when I'm 200 M's up with a signature shoe. I don't care if y'all know I'm Ja Morant. This is how we moved back when no one knew us, so we going to move that same way. Well, guess what, my G? That shit stops now. In case you haven't heard, that shit stops now. I don't know what y'all gonna do, man. I don't know what y'all gonna do, bro. Like, for real. For real, for real. I really do not know what y'all's gonna do. But anyway, moving off of Ja, there's more stuff here with the Phoenix Suns in terms of there is a lot of talk about the new owner, Matt Ishbia, for the Phoenix Suns and how much power he is taking control of. And I try to tell y'all he's on that Steve Ballmer shit, and we're getting more and more evidence day by day that he is indeed on some Steve Ballmer shit, because now he is effectively running, overseeing basketball operations. General manager James Jones, who is LeBron's mans, his influence has been diminished there. This is a Matt Ishbia production right now. So that means ultimately the decision to let go of Monty Williams was not James Jones. It was Matt Ishbia. Now it's expected when a new owner comes in, he kind of wants to get a refresh in the front office. And that also should mean James Jones need to be careful. Maybe Bron could get him a gig with the Lakers if Ishbia gets him up out of there. But like, it's really going to become a thing where we need to watch the Suns. And that's why that James Harden thing makes sense. The sensible move for the Suns is to do small tinkering. Let's build our depth back up since we had to give up so much of it for Kevin Durant. But if you're Matt Ishbia and you just drop, what, $4 billion to get this team? No. We doing big splashes. I'm him. I'm not sitting up in the luxury box. I'm not sitting behind, the basket. I'm sitting on celebrity row. Because guess what? I am a celebrity because I'm the owner of this whole shit. So Ishbia is very much getting some attention upon himself, and he is putting his power and using his power in his toy that he just bought. $4 billion? Yeah, I'm running this, dog. You ain't going to tell me I can't fire Monty Williams. And guess what? I'm going to go get James Harden. And I'm going to put him with Book and Kevin fucking Durant. Because that Brooklyn thing almost worked. It almost worked. Now, if I can put Harden with Durant again, because we know that potentially can work, now we add in Book, who's better than Kyrie, okay, and more, dependable than Kyrie. All right, this can now work over here. I wouldn't be surprised. Updated championship odds. The Boston Celtics are now the overwhelming favorite to win the Larry O.B. Miami Heat have the longest odds in the Lake Show, plus 300. After the trade deadline, this was plus 3,000. That's all I'll say about that, about how I know that. Let's see. All right, do we want to spin the block on? Let's see. We could do a conference preview. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, we're good with that. Okay, so let me pull up. Let's go to Basketball Reference. One last thing on Embiid, and then I swear to you I'm done. But I put this out on Twitter, the Elon app, earlier from @TheSamD Podcast. just to show y'all, shot chart on Joel Embiid, it's nasty. It's nasty. We talked about him getting into the paint. Look at this shot chart, dog. Look at this shot chart. This is a 7'2", 280, 290 plus pound Cameroonian. And look where this man is shooting. Look where this man decided to spend all his time in Game 7 being guarded by the likes of Al Horford and Marcus Smart. Look where this man decided to take the bulk of his shots from. Are you shitting me? This man, the MVP of the whole league, takes the bulk of his shots from in here? For what? And you see what happens when he was like down where he's supposed to be. You see what happens when he was down there where he was supposed to be. Look how successful he was. But then once he stepped out here, what happened? And then once he stepped even further back out here, what happened? Joel Embiid, this was a pitiful performance. A pitiful performance. This is horrible, bruh. Absolutely, positively horrible. I'll have more on this on the These MD podcast. That'll be done tomorrow. All right, so now we have our conference finals set. And I really think we're ending up with the 4 best teams. Milwaukee was flawed. Phoenix was flawed. The Clippers were flawed. The Sixers clearly were flawed. I think we're ending with the 4 most complete teams from top to bottom. From top to bottom in the East and the West. Now, if we want to go with Denver and the Lake Show, I'm rolling with the Lake Show, but there's a very good. I'll tell you why I'm rolling with the Lake Show first. I'm rolling with the Lake Show because they played 4 times during the regular season. All 4 of those times were before the trade deadline. So that was with Russie, with Pat Bev, with Thomas Bryant, and so on and so forth, right? And even with that, when both teams were healthy, they played 3 times. They played 4 total, but that fourth time, the Lakers were not healthy. But those 3 prior times, the Lakers won 2 out of 3. And that was with the bad Lakers. Jokic played in all the games. So did Jamal Murray. So the Nuggets were healthy, and the Lakers were healthy, but with a worse version of the Lakers, and they still beat the Nuggets 2 out of 3. So I think a lot of people are skipping over that because like, oh, well, Jokic is this. I'm like, Jokic is nice. He's him. No question. But AD is also him. LeBron on 1 foot can still summon up a game or 2 and be him. And that's all you need. If you have a motivated AD 5 out of the 7 games, and then you have LeBron pull up and give you 2 of those performances on 1 foot, that should be enough to get 4 wins out of 7 games. Sometimes basketball can be really simple. And to me, that's what that is. Now, there's also a scenario where the Denver, because they have a more talented starting lineup, can run the Lakers off the floor. I am not immune to understanding that, or I'm not ignorant to the fact that that can also be a thing. It can definitely be a thing where Denver runs the Lake Show off the fucking floor. But to me, going back and rewatching the games from earlier in the regular season, again, it's hard because, you know, the Lakers are such a different team now as opposed to then. But Bron and AD played, and Bron and AD were able to cook. In the 3 games, Bron and AD were able to cook. So let's see if I can pull this up here. Lakers. Come on, keyboard. Lakers. Okay. 2023 season. Splits. Okay, so Denver, right? Yeah, Denver. Yeah, so you could already looked it up. They're 2-2 against Denver, but again, remember that second L was, against a AD and Bronless Laker team. All right, so as a team, they shot 47% against them and 34% from three. Now, defensively, am I reading this? Is this the right category? Come on. I had this right the other day. Put it like this, right? The Nuggets' traditional stats, right? Field goal percentage, three-point percentage, points and all that stuff, is significantly less when they face the Lakers. So the Lakers are a very good defensive team. And especially now with Vanderbilt, putting him and unleashing him on putting him in this lineup has really been important to getting that front court established to where you can have Bron, AD, and Vanderbilt. You're not going to get a lot of bully ball off. Now, Jokic is going to get points. He's not going to get locked. But the thing is, he's going to have to work offensively and defensively to get his numbers. AD's going to have to be really aggressive, maybe even try to get him in foul trouble, as Scrub is pointing out here. Ref's going to get the Lakers a bunch of calls only because they're very aggressive. They're very aggressive. They make you make calls. I don't shade it. If you can force the action, if you're LeBron and you're 38 years old and your jump shot is trash because you're only shooting 31% from three, yeah, I'm putting my head down and I'm on some Giannis shit. I'm on some Nigerian freak shit. Goes here, man. Lakers shouldn't even be here, but here we are. It's the bubble matchups all over again. Hey, man, the bubble basketball was really good, man. Like I think unless your team wasn't really in that mix, I enjoyed the bubble. I think that was some of the best basketball. We talked about earlier the whole thing of quality of basketball. I think the bubble playoffs were the highest level of basketball I have ever seen. Highest level of basketball. The shooting, the fact that they didn't have to deal with travel, so the bodies were in peak condition. Like, dog, the bubble was some dope shit. Unless your team was out or eliminated in the bubble, like if you just take a step back as a fan of basketball, the bubble was dope shit. Bubble TJ Warren? Come on, dog. Book versus D. Mitchell? What Jimmy was able to do just to get that finals to go to 6 games? AD hitting game winners? While Pandemic P was clanging threes off the side of the backboard with no fans in the arena? Like, come on, man. It was great shit. Scrubs here, if I didn't know any better, I would say Embiid isn't a big man. Dude thinks he's KD. Yeah, yo, Scrub, it's really problematic, man. When you can't post up Marcus Smart, then what's the point, bruh? What is the point? Yeah, Boogie Down. I am familiar, but that is not the stream for this. He is not the stream for this. Somebody's just going to push off and get to line. It worked for MJ, right? Like, the greats know how to get calls. If the beard wouldn't have been so blatant with it, he probably would have got more calls yesterday, and maybe they don't get blown out by 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that happens if he's able to be more subtle with it. Like, all these guys push off. Like, let's be clear. It's not just a Laker thing. Like, all these guys. Like, if you watch Jamal Murray, watch Jamal Murray when he drives. He puts that elbow, the off elbow, into the chest or the stomach of the defender just to create a little bit more separation as he's going up at the right hand. Watch where he puts his left. It's going to create separation between him. Maybe it looks okay. So when Murray's driving, watch what he does with the offhand. He puts the offhand in between himself and the defender, by design. And he gives a little nudge as he's going up. He gives a little nudge to create that space to make it that much harder for the defender to try to block the shot. So I put the elbow up here, and then I'm going to create the space so that it's going to be harder for you to reach over me to block the shot. Like, all these guys know those little tricks, man. So everyone pushes off. Everyone. And then when it comes to Celtics Heat, how many more times can Tatum put up a 50-piece? Because I think that's the only way they get by him. I think that's the only way they get by the Miami Heat. And Jimmy's not right. Jimmy's not right. That ankle is bad. If that ankle is bad, I don't care if Tyler Hero's coming back. I don't give them too much of a chance. But if Jimmy is still Jimmy, it's going to be Jimmy versus Tatum. It's going to be Jimmy versus Tatum, because Bam will be neutralized. Because I think, if you're talking about Bam, he's going to get neutralized by Horford and Time Lord. Robert Williams. Robert Williams, low key, was the difference against Philly. As much as Horford was able, let me come off the screen here, because Time Lord was really the difference in that Philly series, right? Robert Williams' insertion into the lineup made it difficult for people who drove the rock, like Harden, like Maxey, because now they have something to think about. You don't really think about Horford as a shot blocker, even though in theory he is one. But Time Lord, that's what he does. Okay? So when you get by your defender and you're going to the rim, whereas in games 1 through 5, those are layups. Or maybe you get fouled in the act of shooting. Now you get past your defender, Embiid, who's always outside, because we know he's never in the paint, right? Embiid's out at the top of the key or, in three-point land, so Horford's not there. So once you drive by your defender, you got a free lane to the cup. Now you got Time Lord down there. Now that's why PJ Tucker started to get all them threes. Because guys were driving and what used to be layups, now you got Time Lord there. All right, swing it to the open man. That's PJ in the corner 3. Robert Williams was the difference. As much as Al Horford gets his props, if Embiid, the few times he was able to get by Al Horford, he then had to get by Time Lord. That's asking a lot, even for a guy that's the MVP of the league. Boogie down. Now it makes sense why KD, Harden, and Westbrook never won anything on the Thunder. None of them are leaders. They all fold when you need them most. Yeah, they were also very young though. Boogie down. They were also very, very young, and they had a coach that was mid. And Billy Donovan. Was it Billy Donovan or Scott Brooks? Scott Brooks, right? Scott Brooks. Like, I never trusted the coach, and I didn't trust them because they were way too young. Way too young. They gave me like Fab Five vibes. Like Fab Five was great, dominant, elite, immortal. But when it came right down to it, their youth cost them a chip. And I think that's what happened with the Thunder, is that their youth cost them a chip. Plus, James Harden, that was probably the first instance of him disappearing in a big spot against the finals against Miami. Boogie down. KD should have never left the Warriors. He was too worried about being in Steph's shadow. Yes. So another answer to a yes or no question. Yes. But also, I think KD really felt like once I win a championship, they'll shut up. And he won 2 championships, was a finals MVP for 2 years, and we still did not shut up. And I think he was like, oh, fuck it, I can't win. I might as well just go ahead and hoop with my friends. I don't think he genuinely wanted to hoop with them outside of, I know if I go there, we're going to win. it wasn't like other stops where clearly now he just wants to hoop with people that he feels is either A, the best hoopers he can hoop with, like AAU, or dudes that he likes. I think he did the Brooklyn thing because he genuinely fucks with Kyrie. And I think he pushed to go to Phoenix because he wanted to hoop with Book. Now, there's also some rumors that, you know, Miami was really close to getting Kevin Durant before Phoenix swooped in and like really, sweetened the pot with Brooklyn. I don't know how much I believe that because Miami is always in contention to get any superstar and they somehow never land them. So I don't know about that, but, you know, that's a thing to consider. Scrub, the Heat need Butler to be Jimmy and not James. I think he'll be okay, but I don't think that ankle's right. That ankle don't look right. If that ankle shows any signs of not being right, this is probably a quick series that Boston takes care of the Heat. Let's see. So I don't do predictions per se. I'll just say who I think is going to win and why. So I told y'all why I think the Lakers are going to win. I think in this series, while the Celtics have more talent, I just think they've gotten away with murder over the years in the playoffs. And I think them not having a real coach, I'm not sold on Mazzulla. He's made a lot of rookie mistakes. He doesn't like taking timeouts. He's very weird. It took him 5 games to realize maybe you should put in your best defensive big into the lineup. Like, he's made a lot of weird rotation stuff. I think that's going to bite them in the ass because Spoelstra is such a better coach. Like, Spoelstra is arguably the best coach in the league, but when you put him up against a 34-year-old rookie coach, like, that could really be a difference maker if this series goes a long time. If this series goes long, I think that could be the edge ultimately. Scrub, do we trust Tatum to not turn back into Scottie Pippen? Whew. I do because we know he's going to get the shots. He's going to take the shots. He's going to make sure he's going to get his shots. Like that's the one thing about him and the whole Scottie thing is he's never not taking shots. Scottie sometimes wouldn't even take shots because he's playing with Jordan. Tatum, he Kobe. Tatum is Kobe. So he's either going to shoot you in a game or shoot you out a game. But either way, he's shooting. Okay? Let me run that back. That was pretty good off the cuff. Tatum thinks he's Kobe. He's going to shoot you into a game or shoot you out of a game. But either way, he's shooting. So good luck with that. Going to live and die with that. Because again, we got the totals right here. Is this the playoff numbers? Oh, this is just in the 7-game series, okay? 7-game series. Look at all these shots, bro. 148 shots to 109. This guy's supposed to be the second best player on the team, Jaylen Brown. And he's taking damn near 40 less shots than you. And again, we saw the percentage. He was shooting them at a better clip. Yeah, for the whole series. Tatum shot 45% for all 7 games against Philly. Jaylen Brown shot 54%. And if we want to go to three-point land, even with that 50-piece and going Inferno, going Super Saiyan yesterday, he still shot 37% for the series, while Jaylen Brown shot 43%. Yet, this guy with the lesser numbers and the lower percentages took damn near 40 more shots. And if you look at the points, that differential ain't that big to be taking 40 more shots. So, you know, it is what it is, but hella problematic, bro. So I don't think he's Scottie Pippen. He's Kobe. He just going to keep trying to be Kobe. And you saw a good Kobe yesterday. You saw a good Kobe the fourth quarter of Game 6. But those first 3 quarters of Game 6, that was bad Kobe. And Tatum's nice. Like he's got a ridiculous game. He's got a ridiculous skill set. He's him. it's the thing of, can he realize he doesn't have to be Kobe all the time? I don't know. I don't know if he knows that. I do not know if he knows that. All right, let's see. Let me check the timeline, see if there's anything that we've missed. We've gone 2 hours. I appreciate those who have pulled up. I appreciate, we've gotten some new subscribers here on the channel, so always appreciate that. Making things happen, getting people mad on the internet. That's kind of what I do. Talk my sports shit and then have to defend my sports shit. That's kind of what we do here. But appreciate those pulling up. Let's see if we can find some good stuff to go out on with a bang. Make sure we don't miss anything. And y'all can always, if y'all see or hear anything, oh Lord, here's some tea. I hope this doesn't happen. Now, this is a blue check, boy, so be careful with just believing anything. Everyone's going to be coming out here saying stuff and claiming they got sources. But according to Frank Isola, who used to be a big-time journalist, is now just a talking head on Sirius XM NBA radio, I would not be shocked if Isaiah Thomas is the coach of this team. I don't think that's a real thing. It's a lot of speculation. And again, Isaiah Thomas, here's the fun part, right? Here's where we could dissect how people could just, I'm not saying Isola made this up, right? But here's where you can manufacture this into being a thought that could just be in your head and actually say it. And people like, that makes sense. So let's deduce this, right? Phoenix clearly needs a coach, right? I just showed y'all the story of how Matt Ishbia is out here running shit in Phoenix. Matt Ishbia went where? Michigan State. Isaiah Thomas is a legend where? Detroit. What state is that in? Michigan. Now again, I'm not saying this is made up, but this is how people start making ties. It's quite perceivable that Isaiah, who has bread and has been in the business space and all that stuff off the floor for a while now, to what degree, that's disputed, but I won't get into that. But he's moved around in business circles for a minute now. It's probably very apparent that he's moved in the same circles in Michigan, in the state of Michigan, with Ishbia. They probably crossed paths. They probably have a relationship. And you got to know how Zeke moved. The minute Ishbia got that gig, he probably reached out, from one guy that's known in the D to another guy that made his bones in Michigan, like salute, all of that, You're a former hooper. I'm Zeke, Like, I can see where you could put that together, but do I think there's a real chance of this happening? No. But it's good content for a stream like this. I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. We're not going to do that. Darvin Ham's strategy versus Nikola Jokic. Try to catch him out of his house and kidnap him. Okay. Classic coach move. Hype up your opponent and hope that you get him so hyped up that he overinflates himself. Skip Zero, I don't see Zeke coaching the Suns. Yeah, I don't see it either. I think it's all smoke. All right, nothing there. Yeah, nothing there. Okay, we'll back off of that. Let's see. What else can we find real quick just to make sure we're not missing anything? Any updates on Ja? Let's see. Before we get up out of here. Nets World, what's good, man? It's been a hell of a stream, bro. We've been talking hella shit. Victor Wembanyama. We're gonna do something around the draft lottery. Trying to figure out if I'm going to go live during that. I'm not sure yet, but the draft lottery, basically the chase for Vic. Who will get Vic? We'll know tomorrow night. No, nothing new on Ja. Okay, so we're good there. Appreciate the like. Is the point fraud my least favorite player in the league? in the league. Yes. And it's deeper than rap, right? It's deeper than rap. I could certainly just kill him for his basketball skills, right? I can say how he's overrated. I could say how he's been, much like how James Harden has been shaken a light in various spots in various moments for various teams. I could make the same argument for the point fraud. For me, though, it's the flopping. It's the nut punching. It's, as head of the NBPA, circumventing the CBA to only benefit himself at the expense of younger players coming into this league. There's a whole ass draft lottery being done tomorrow night, and all those players are going to have to play 1 year longer because the point fraud changed the rules to benefit himself and only himself. And even when he changed the rule, he didn't even take the max bag that he fought for. He got suckered into a team-friendly contract that was under the max when he was the head of the NBPA and changed the one bylaw that affected him at the maximum age for max contracts. As someone that used to work in a union and be a union delegate and represent employees and help them get their bread right, retro pay, all that type of stuff, to see someone in that same type of position do it to the detriment of his constituency and do it for self, hella problematic. So that's where it really stems to me. But then you add all the basketball shit. Like you go punch Julius Hodge in the nuts in front of Dickie V. You do that as a teenager on a 4-letter network. You're gonna go punch Julius Hodge in the nuts. Then you take it to the league, and literally every year he did something so outrageously nefarious. Like there's multiple compilations here on YouTube of him just being dirty. And it's not like he picks on certain players. Anyone could get it. Steven Adams, Boogie Cousins, even his banana boat man's Bron. He tried to rip the damn elbow out the socket when it was in the playoffs a few years ago. Tried to rip Bron's shoulder out of the socket. This is who that man is. So yeah, he's a clown. He's a clown. He's a fraud. Anyone in and around the league knows it. He's protected because he's down with Bron and Wade and all of them. But outside of that squad, ain't nobody really rocking with no damn CP fraud. And that's why, to me, he's the point fraud, and I air him out every chance I get because he's a dude that I'm like, Nets World is literally everyone in the league, bruh. Like, I used to work on radio shows on Sirius XM NBA radio with former coaches, former players, and I wouldn't even have to bring them up. People would just voluntarily throw out shade and other stories about how he really moves. And I would just be like, this is who that dude is. We didn't even get to the basketball, him choking. We didn't even get to him tricking away 2-1, 3-1 leads. We didn't even get to him sitting on the bench when the Rockets went 0 for 27. We didn't even get into all of that. We ain't even getting into the fact of him being with the Hornets. And damn near the whole starting 5 got rings except for him. We're not getting into any of that yet. It's just the flopping. It's just circumventing the CBA. That's all the shit. That's the foundation. Then you put the basketball shit on top of it. It's damn dog. It's a skyscraper. But to answer the question, Joel Embiid choked up. Yeah, we aired him out. Yeah, dogs. You can't be the MVP. Like I was saying earlier, like Kendrick Perkins started a race war to get you an MVP award. And you rewarded him with a second-round exit to where Al Horford clamped you, to where you were afraid to post up Marcus Smart, to where Derek White could deny you the rock in the post. Nikola Jokic was going to be MVP, and then Perk changed the narrative and stirred the pot and dropped the race car like it was the big spade. Like, he really treated this game, he treated the MVP vote like it was spades. He dropped the big joker of the race card and changed the whole narrative. Changed the entire narrative. Man started a race war for you to win MVP, and then you can't even get to the conference finals. The first ever MVP to not make it to the conference finals. The first ever. Like, come on, man. Jokic greater than Embiid. I mean that's facts. I think the only one still holding out is our guy Boogie Down. Boogie Down is the only one still holding out, saying that Jokic is overrated. I mean, it's a fitting reward for Perk. That's facts too. He's another one hanging on to one championship, and him and Doc both hanging on. That whole Celtic team, that whole one chip Celtic team is hanging on to that chip, acting like that chip is equal to all 5 of the Spurses. It's fucking ridiculous how much they try to squeeze out of that one chip. They think they're like made men just because they got one championship. You and Dirk got the same amount of championships. You don't see Dirk walking around here acting like he's floating on air, like can't no one ever question him. But if you like KG, Paul the Fraud Pierce, and Doc Rivers and all them dudes, Perk and all of them, like you would think that chip was like, all 11 that Bill Russell got. It's the same equivalency if you let them tell it. All right, let's see. I don't think we're missing anything. I don't see anything new here on the timeline. Yeah. I don't think we're missing anything. We got into the Ja Morant stuff. We touched on that. We got into the conference finals preview. I'm going with the Lakers over the Nuggets. I've been, riding with that even before they made all the trades. I just think when you got a healthy Anthony Davis and even Bron on one foot, I think that duo it hasn't been defeated yet. When both of those guys are healthy, they don't lose. Not in the playoffs. They lost to the Suns when AD went down. They were up 2-1 when that happened. So when Bron and AD are healthy, or at least good enough to hoop and not miss games, they haven't lost yet. So I'm not going to break that trend. When you have 2 of, now probably top 10 players. When they first got AD, I think it was 2 of the top 5 best players. To me, I think it's just a thing of like those 2 dudes together. As great as Jokic is, Jamal Murray can shoot his way out of games. Michael Porter Jr. can be a role player and only play well at home. Aaron Gordon's going to have to play high-level defense for another series. We haven't really seen him do that at any other time in his career, as asking a lot of him. So I think that there's a lot of ifs here. Okay. Oh, I see y'all riding with the Nuggets. Okay. Scrub 0, and that's where we're rolling with Denver. Okay. All right. So I'll be here to answer back. I'll be here to answer back. In the East, Jimmy's ankle's really bad. And you kind of saw it at the back half of that Knicks series. He really wasn't him. Right? I think the Celtics get back to the finals. I think we're looking at Lakers Celtics. I don't think it's a conspiracy or a script. I just think that's just, it could be Nuggets, Celtics, sure. But I just think ultimately when it comes down to, I think that the best matchup in terms of basketball would be Nuggets, Heat in terms of styles. Obviously, the most ratings is Lakers, Celtics. You can sell Lakers Heat and say it's a rematch of the bubble. Denver Celtics, Tatum versus Jokic, like it's weird, but I think we're gonna get Lakers Celtics. I think the Celtics will take care of it. I don't think Jimmy's ankle. I mean, look, they could shoot him up with whatever out there in Miami, and Bron knows about that very well. But I'll go with the Celtics there. But if they shoot Jimmy up with something and Tyler Hero can come back gunning, it should be fun. Either way, it's going to be fun. I think we got the 4 best teams that's left. I think the teams that might have had better records all had flaws, and that's Phoenix, that's Milwaukee, that's certainly Philadelphia. But I think we're here now to where we got the 4 teams post-deadline that were the best teams in the league. So I will lead you on that note. Hey, Nesworld, who do you have in the East? I'll let you have the final word, and then we'll tip up out of here. Okay, Scourge, I'm going to take the Heat, but that's mostly because I hate the Celtics. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But if Tatum go crazy, like that's the thing with Tatum. You got Jimmy Butler, who if he's right can defend. You got Bam Adebayo. They'll probably dust off Strus. Yeah, that's going to be tough. This series they'll need a lot more of Jaylen Brown. They can't have the shot disparity in this series because the Heat, I think, are going to build a wall on Jason Tatum. Now, once you have that wall built, it's going to be tough, man. The Celtics got a lot of dudes. They got a lot of dudes. Marcus Smart, I still think he shoots too much, but, he's been allowed to do that. Malcolm Brogdon, I think, becomes big here. Time Lord could be a factor, man. I think Time Lord, the fact that he can either eliminate Bam by himself or he can help Horford try to handle Bam is huge. The fact that he's healthy, because again, when he's healthy, they're a problem. And he single-handedly changed that Philly series around. That and Embiid choking. But I will wrap that up. About to go get some grub. We will be back here tomorrow. There's a lot going on tomorrow. It'll be more preview of the conference finals. I think there'll be some more job update stuff. And then we got the draft lottery. There's some interesting odds. I'll be looking into that. So there was a little football stuff, but I mean, that could wait till tomorrow. It's nothing pertinent. So thank y'all for pulling up. I appreciate it. If you missed any of this, you can always catch the replay under the live tab on the channel. Tell a friend. We're trying to build this channel out, get some more subscribers. We're heading close to the hours requirement, stuff like that. But, we need some subscribers. So if you know some people that might enjoy this content, feel free to spread it, share it, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all again on the next episode of Timeline T tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. Peace.